Hello, welcome to the Bare-Knuckled Theologian. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brandon.
All right, it's been a little bit since we got to put up a podcast. I've been out of commission, so to speak, for the last couple days. Me and my wife, we had our third and final baby.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we
All
done.
right. Okay.
There's not anymore.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome that
Thank
you had his name.
His name is August Michael. We just really like that name. We like the movie August Rush. He wasn't really named after that movie.
One of my favorite movies.
But it was definitely a great movie, a lot with music and Robin Williams in it. So
it did. Yeah, you're right. Abusive Robin Williams.
Yeah. So,
Well, that's cool.
Great movie.
And, congratulations. And
thank you.
And that's why we took some time off from the last podcast, everybody, just so you follow along at home. It has been a couple weeks, but sometimes life comes before recording of podcasts.
That's right. It most certainly does. So
yeah. So you've been busy the last couple weeks.
I have been busy. And, everybody keeps asking about the baby. They keep asking about the wife.
Yeah.
They even ask about the other two kids.
They don't
ask about me.
Yeah.
What the heck? How's Daddy doing?
Because it was rough for you, I'm sure.
It was.
I mean, especially the labor part.
It was just a C-section.
Hey, it's Labor Day. Yeah.
It is Labor Day.
Oh, yeah. Well, she still had labor. I mean, that's not,
Yeah, no.
But, you probably had sympathy pains that were probably much worse than the real.
I did.
I
did. There was a
Mine
couple times.
were on both my kids.
There was a couple times where
I got an epidural for my first one.
they put it in for you.
I did it myself.
Give me that.
Because I'm a man.
But no, I don't want to take away from my wife or the baby or the other kids. And
you have to go home tonight. Yeah.
I'd hate to put more attention on myself than that. But yeah, nobody does ask though, for real.
No, they don't. Dad doesn't matter until the baby cries at 2 a.m.
Actually, the baby's not really been crying at 2 a.m.
That's what I hear. He's been sleeping all night long. I'd like to know your secret, if you could sum it up.
Benadryl and whiskey.
Okay. I'm not going to ask if that's you that's actually taking that or if it's the baby.
Well, it really works.
Hang on, I need to Google Child Protective Services.
No, we're just kidding. I'm just kidding. The baby has done really well sleeping on its own. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. All right.
Sorry, I rubbed my face, and I was hoping it didn't pick up the microphone, so I figured I'd just bring that out.
He's rubbing his face while he's talking, and our microphones are pretty hot, so we were concerned that may show up. If it did, just ignore it. If you heard like a sound that sounded like sandpaper, don't worry about it. That was Sean rubbing his face.
Yep. So I've had a pretty busy couple weeks, so...
Yeah, me too.
What'd you do?
I have been extremely busy the last couple of weeks, Sean, birthing my own type of thing. Yes.
What'd you birth?
I have birthed a mustache.
A very, very glorious
Is this not an amazing mustache that I have going on?
We'll try to put up a pic on our Facebook page.
Maybe so. Yeah, I've gone with, I've always had some type of facial hair generally. There's been a few times I've shaved, but I usually have like a goatee, or I'll try to go with I can't grow like a full beard. I can't do like one of those Duck Dynasty guys. I couldn't do something like that, but I'd have like enough. No, that's just nasty. I'm sorry, it is kind of gross, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I've gone with a mustache with a little soul patch just under my lip.
It kind of looks French.
Wait, no, step outside, Sean. Don't ever accuse me of that again. Okay, you're not the first person in the last couple of weeks that told me that I look like the Three Musketeers.
Yeah,
and I wasn't sure what that was at first. I thought he said Mouseketeers, and I thought one of those kids with the little hats and the Mickey Mouse ears.
I just get hungry when I hear Three Musketeers.
Yeah,
candy bar.
You're making me. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a pretty crappy candy bar though.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
No.
I don't like it at all.
Sorry for all you Three Musketeer fans, but your candy bar sucks.
And I think my mustache would probably filter that out if I tried to eat it. Like if I tried to eat a Three Musketeers,
rejected.
It would say no and hold it off.
See, that's a problem.
A manly mustache.
Yeah,
when you have it.
That's a problem with having a manly mustache is stuff does get dejected.
Now, if I was eating a rib or a hot wing, it would part. It would actually part to let it through like a curtain.
Would it throw some music in on there like, oh?
Something like that. Yeah, it would make noises. It makes noises all the time.
right,
conversation got weird.
So I brought in a gift or a surprise for you this week.
I see it.
I brought in a magazine from 1983.
Man, I was 7 years old. That's ancient.
I was like -2. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't even born yet. Yeah. So yeah, in this 1983 magazine, it's a wrestling magazine, very nice magazine.
It is nice.
Has a guy in white Speedo type trunks with a belt on.
And let me just add, back in the day, they had legit title championship belts. This thing is going from, it's covering most of his front of his body. That's a serious title belt. They don't make them like this anymore. You have to be a man to tote around this belt. It's not just something for anybody.
Well, right, and the chest hair too.
Yeah, that's Nick Bockwinkel, by the way. He's legit. He was a man.
See, I'm not.
But he
wasn't even around then.
Only men can carry that kind of title. That's serious. That has probably real gold in it. It's probably worth millions of dollars.
Oh, it probably is.
Yeah, you know it is.
But the nice thing about this magazine, it's not just a simple wrestling
not just hairy
magazine.
Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah, it's not half-naked dudes that we like to look at. But it actually has an article from my great-grandmother in there.
From her? No. Oh, yeah.
About her.
What she wrote.
About her, but there is a personal note that I cannot read because apparently I'm not very good at reading cursive.
Yeah, it's a language I didn't learn either. So, but yeah, it's awesome. And if you're not following this, the first podcast we brought up Sean's grandmother, great grandmother, and that he had a great grandmother named June Byers who was a professional wrestler. And I didn't believe him. I just called him out on it. I'm pretty sure in there I called him
a liar.
I think I did, and it was my mustache talking. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't me. But
my mustache don't believe you.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. After that podcast, I went and Googled your grandma, and I'm gonna go ahead and confess this to you, Sean. This is hard for me.
That just sounds weird. I Googled your grandma.
I did.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google your grandma too.
I don't care. Google her. I went and looked her up, and the Wikipedia article showed up, and her picture showed up. And I'm just going to say this to you. I'm going to look you in the eye, Sean, and say this. Your grandma's pretty hot.
Well, I mean,
does that make it awkward between us if I say that?
No, because that's just kind of stuff that we expect.
Well, yeah. I mean, granted, it was like from 1950 something picture, but she was a fine looking filly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the genes.
No, it cut off a generation or two ago, but it was a good picture. And this thing has like 5 pictures of her in it. It's pretty awesome. She looked legit too. She was pretty popular back in the day.
So
why don't we know about her? I mean, why is she not big today? Because I haven't seen her like on these legend things.
Yeah, if you read the article about her, I mean, this is a pretty. I don't know. This magazine was pretty big back then, but the article talked really highly of her. It talked about how she was. I think it's been a while since I read the article, to be honest with you, but I think it said something like her being undefeated champion at one point in time. Yeah, word.
Wow.
That's my genes.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why you don't hear about her is because there was an incident.
An incident.
Okay. There's a reason why we don't hear about June Byers, and it has a lot to do with another female wrestler's, I'm assuming, ex-husband.
Okay.
Because my grandmother took her husband.
Took him where? Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. I was a little behind there. I thought maybe I was thinking, maybe Disney World or something.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. As Ric Flair would say, Space Mountain. So took him to Space Mountain. But yeah, I understand. Yeah, okay. An incident. Let's leave it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
we don't condone incidents on the Bare-Knuckled Theologian podcast unless it's a fisticuff incident.
No, or incidents lead to what happened to my grandmother.
Yeah.
You not hearing about her. Yeah, I eventually, it was
so she stole
Fabulous Moolah.
Okay.
Her husband.
Wow.
And yeah, apparently Fabulous Moolah was powerful enough in female wrestling at that time to end your career, and that's exactly what happened. She ended my great grandmother's career.
Wow!
I actually, if you YouTube June Byers, you'll see that she.
So they had a loser leave wrestling incident.
Essentially, yeah. I don't think it was an official wrestling match.
Wasn't like promoted. Yeah.
I don't think it was promoted. I think it just kind of happened.
I understand. Wow, that's crazy.
But that's not the first time that happened with Fabulous Moolah.
Huh? So she
allegedly. I've heard that she's
Allegedly.
killed someone in the ring over the
Okay.
same incident.
Wow.
So
So don't cross the families. Is she
Yeah.
still alive?
no, she died
Okay.
last year
Last year?
or
Okay.
this year.
I
Recently,
really don't know.
Recently, she passed away.
Okay.
This year.
Well, all right. Cool story. Thanks for bringing in the magazine, man.
Word.
Yep. I guess we need to move to our main topic for this podcast. We have decided, Sean and I, that going forward with our podcast, every other episode, each of us would alternate picking the topic that we would discuss and chat about, and hopefully bring to you guys in a good way. And this week it is my week, so I have the topic, and I wanted to talk, Sean, this week about going back to the Robin Williams thing that you mentioned earlier. He obviously, we all are aware of the news and what has happened. We kind of planned this episode a couple of weeks ago, but
Life happened.
Yeah, life happened. But Robin Williams obviously has committed suicide, and a history of depression and that sort of thing in his life. And so what I wanted to do, because just to open it up personally here, it's going to get kind of heavy, and this is a heavy topic. I am bipolar. I've been diagnosed with bipolar, and so I deal with depression. I have periods of depression in my life, and have been going through that for some years now, and have been treated in different ways with antidepressants, and it's an ongoing struggle with myself. And so this is a personal topic to me, Sean, and I wanted to bring it up to discuss it because I've got a few questions about it that maybe somebody out there listening may help. And I just want to, I guess the first question I'll come out of the gate with is, Sean, do you think there are in the Christian culture, in the Christian subculture, in church, or whatever you want to say, do you think there are a lot of Christians who deal with depression that we don't know about?
No. And I'll tell you why.
No.
No.
Okay.
Once we get saved, we become perfect. No.
Okay.
That is not true whatsoever. The Bible says that we work out our salvation, and I think that this is something that we carry with us, and once we become a Christian, it's not something that changes overnight. I think we as Christians deal with the same thing that the rest of the world that deals with it, and I think really, honestly, to ignore that is just stupid. I mean, just to ignore the fact that we as Christians can't, deal with depression, deal with emotional, disorders or whatever, what have you call them. I mean, I think just to ignore and simply say that that's not something that we as Christians deal with is just foolish and just wrong.
Yeah.
Simply put.
Okay. And I would agree. I think coming from the perspective of ministry, myself being a minister and doing pastoral counseling and dealing with people for years now, I think there are quite a bit of Christians that deal with depression. I think I saw recently the statistics across the board just of people in America or wherever it was polled. 18% of the population deals with either an anxiety disorder or depression. And I saw other articles that basically coincided with that, saying within the Christian faith, that number doesn't change much. If not, it may even go up some, especially with ministers and pastors themselves. And so I think, I would agree with you, I think there are quite a few Christians that deal with depression, that have depression. The question then, the logical next step from that would be, Sean, why is it such taboo to talk about depression within the Christian faith? Why do we not have a culture that's more open about it? Because I do feel like it is hidden to some degree. I don't think it's talked about much.
I think it is hidden for sure. I think as Christians, and I'm really glad that we're talking about this because it is a taboo topic. I think as Christians that we don't like to admit any weaknesses at all. I think that we want to try to show that this Christian faith that we has made us perfect, kind of like what I was joking about just a few moments ago, that we want to put off this mask that we're perfect. But we all battle with something. I really think that just as I think it's just we're afraid to let our guards down. I mean, you being a pastor, you're talking about openly that you have this issue. I mean, how do you feel? How does that make you feel with talking with other people? I mean, do you feel like you need to hide, your issues a lot, or?
Sure. I think over the course of time, earlier in my ministry and life, when I first really realized that I was dealing with depression on a regular basis and knew what that was, I mean, it took a while before I actually understood it, that's what I was going through. There was a great temptation to keep it to yourself and not let anybody in on it, especially if you're in a place of leadership in a church or if you're in ministry in any way. That you get this feeling that most people put leaders or Christian leaders up on a pedestal of some degree, and so to show any type of weakness about a spiritual issue then would lose credibility or lose respect, and so you tend to try to keep it hidden and just don't really talk about it openly or publicly. But that changed in me a couple of years ago, and I think it's just where I am in my life and ministries that when I did that for so long, when I tried to keep things in, try to be something different publicly, that creates a great amount of stress and anxiety in your life, and you really do have some deeper issues that it just kind of adds on to it when I'm not open and honest about who I am. And so now in my ministry, I'm much more open about it. I don't talk about the ugly, gory details of it, and
right.
that only me and my family know or whatever. But I will talk about it behind or on stage as I'm preaching. I will talk about it in pastoral counseling sessions. I'll talk about it on podcasts, whatever. And I think that it's a good thing, because there are so many people out there that may be listening. There are people in the sanctuary and in the church or whatever when I'm speaking that may be dealing with it and need to know that others are too. And it kind of creates a culture where there is some openness and there can be dialogue. Sure, ever since I have been more open about it, I have had people who were Christians who came to me and really tried to advise me that I shouldn't be that open. I shouldn't talk about those kind of things because I will be judged. I will be critiqued and all of that. But I've kind of said, you know what? I think it's important at this day and time, because we really do see a lot of this now, that there just really are a lot of people that are struggling. There are a lot of people that are hurting, that are broken, and they need to see authenticity from us. They need to see us being real. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from and where I'm at.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to ask you, I thought you brought up a very good something I'd like to dive into a little deeper. You said before that you found out what it was, that you're actually battling with depression. What were you feeling like before that's what it was, before you found out, yes, I'm having, depression going on? What did you feel, and what made you go find out what it was, and what were those steps? I guess does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I'll share some of it. Some of it I'll. The reason I asked,
I think that maybe some of our listeners might be having issues with this, and maybe this might be a good way for them to figure out what it is that they're dealing with.
Sure, I think there is a great difference in how gender, how men and women exhibit symptoms of depression.
Yeah,
I think some women would tend to be more maybe emotional driven, and you may have the symptoms of a lot of crying, a lot of sadness, a lot of all that. But I think for a lot of men who deal with depression on a regular basis, one of the greatest symptoms they have is anger, and outbursts of anger and frustration for really no apparent reasons. And that was what really was my final awareness. When I was going through it, I would have times when I would just absolutely be so frustrated at the world. And I don't want to get into detail about the situations that happened at the time, but ultimately I was seeing myself in the moment getting so wound up and angry about certain things, and I sort of think, man, something's wrong. Something's not right here. Why am I responding with this? And it wasn't that anger was the problem. That was a symptom of some deeper issue. And the more I dived into it, and that sent me to doctors to get this talked about and chatted about. And when I went and discussed this, I found out and did some research that a lot of men, that's one of their biggest symptoms, is they just have uncontrolled rage or anger. And they may lash out at their family. They may lash out at other people at different times, or they may try to contain it, which is one of the things I did. I tried to contain it so much that it would come out at weird times, strange times. And so that was mine. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was at on it. I think the biggest question, John, as we start to kind of wrap this topic up, is we need to discuss, and I think this is where the misunderstanding about depression comes from within the Christian culture. We need to understand that depression is more... I see that a lot of Christians think depression is just a sin.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Or just maybe even always an attack from Satan or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it may be categorized as a spiritual warfare,
right.
Or it's sinful. You're not, your faith is weak. They may take a verse like Philippians 4:6 where it says, "Do not be anxious about anything." When it tells us something like that, and say, "Well, you shouldn't be anxious. You shouldn't be stressed. You shouldn't be down and depressed. You should be this way." If you really had faith in God, then you would be happy all the time. You'd be peaceful and joyful and all these sorts of things. And here's where I'm at on that. I think for me, there is a level of depression that can certainly be spiritual warfare. It certainly can be something of a spiritual nature that I can approach. I have quiet time with God. I sit still before Him, and He can feel me, and He can heal me in ways that nothing else can.
Yeah. But
I also believe that depression can manifest itself in a very real, physical, medical way. Just like a sickness or a disease. I mean, when it comes down to it, a lot of folks that are dealing with depression really do have imbalances in their brain chemically that need to be addressed, that need to be looked at. And so I think there are different aspects of it. And I think in the Christian sense, we often just keep it in a spiritual realm. It's always just a spiritual issue, when really a lot of what we deal with is also medical, and we should be okay with pursuing medical treatments for it.
Right. I know with my background, we did kind of look at it as either lack of faith or, we do have sin. I mean, we would constantly go up to the altar if we battled with something, and we would just stay there, and people would put their hands on us and pray on us. And, I'm not discrediting what God can do by any means, because I do believe God can heal people. I mean, that can absolutely happen, but sometimes maybe that might be through medicine or medication, and I think that we just need to be okay with that.
Yes, I agree. I think God can heal us through doctors, and medication, and those sorts of things, and we ought to be okay with that. We should pursue those things. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think ultimately what it comes down to for all of us is we go back to the reason why this discussion started. When we have people, Robin Williams obviously was a depressed individual, and there's a lot of people that said on the outside as they looked at his life, he was a funny dude. I mean, he was legit funny. I mean, he really, and he was always that way, and he looked like he was happy and all these sort of things. Well, the truth is there are a lot of people within the Christian cultures, a lot of people in church, that if you pass them on Sunday at church and you ask them how they are, they would answer, "Oh, I'm great, things are good," and they'd have a smile, and they do all those things because they don't want anybody to know the truth about where they are. But on the inside, they are hurting, they are suffering, they are struggling, they are broken, and sometimes it is a simple spiritual issue that we need to address and we need to look at. But then sometimes we also need to understand that there are real medical problems and conditions that people have that they need to go seek treatment for. And so I want to just kind of leave this at this, because there's probably people listening, Sean, that deal with this.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are people that would wrestle with this on a regular basis. One of the verses I've always used for myself is out of Psalms 42:11. It just reminds me of where to put my hope. It says, "Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me?" That's the question that a lot of us that wrestle with depression have, is, man, why am I like this? Why am I always struggling with this? The answer here, it says, "To hope in God, for I shall again praise Him, my salvation and my God." Throughout all of church history, There have been plenty of people who've wrestled with depression. Charles Spurgeon, a lot of big names of people that we put up on pedestals that dealt with depression. In the Bible, there are quite a few people who dealt with depression. You're not alone. I'm not alone. There are plenty that do. And we're going to have an element of suffering in this world that we will face as believers, and this could be part of that. And we may not be rescued tomorrow. We may not get over it overnight. There are things that can heal us, and God will use them to heal us. But ultimately, what I get from this verse is that I'm to place my hope in God, and that one day He is going to rescue me from this depressive state. He will set me free from that, and I will have final victory over the gloom, the despair, and where we may feel in our hearts and souls. And so I want that to be an encouragement to somebody that's listening to the podcast.
I think it's good. I think it's real good to talk about. I think it's just us being real. And I mean, really, if that's something you're battling with, I mean, how much more real can you get? So sure. I think that's kind of the whole point of why we want to do this podcast. So we want to be real with everybody out there.
Yeah, and we want to have that culture to where we feel open about that we can talk, because God uses people too. You know, as we share our life with one another, He uses you, He uses me to be able to walk one another through these tough issues. But if we never open up and we never have those dialogues, we never have those conversations, then we'll continue to have people that stay in the closet per se, or the ones that hide themselves, and they never get true healing, and they never can have that in their life. And so,
right.
I think it's important for us to do. So,
all right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's try to go to a game. So this week,
wait a minute. We're gonna go from depression talk to a game.
Well, don't worry.
It's like going into reverse.
Well, not really, because this is Would You Rather.
Okay.
And it's never anything good. It's always bad, negative stuff.
So let's go. Let's do it. Would you rather? So you're going to give me two scenarios, if I understand this game correctly. You're going to give me two scenarios, and then we're going to have to pick which one we would rather do. Okay.
Yeah. And typically it's the lesser
and the
of
people
two
listening
evils.
can play along at home.
That is right. Okay. Would you rather use sandpaper as toilet paper?
Okay.
Or use hot sauce as eye drops?
Okay, would I rather use sandpaper? What grade sandpaper? Maybe that's what is it coarse grade or
does it matter?
No, I mean, you're right. It does not.
Essentially, it's sand.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's sand that's on paper.
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, you're going to have some,
but
with some grade, it's bigger than others.
Yeah.
But it's still used to...
Is it 2-ply? Okay, no. All right, so sandpaper is toilet paper, or my other choice is use hot sauce as eye drops. Right. Now, do I have to use the sandpaper as toilet paper for the rest of my life? Is that what you're saying? Or just one-time deal?
You know what? Let's go ahead and use the rest of your life.
Oh, for the rest of my life.
But to make it fair,
okay.
Because I mean, let's just be real. Unless something's not going right, you use toilet paper every day.
Well, I use it like once a week. I mean, that's what I'm down to right now. That's just no. Okay.
You got to use. I mean, because I don't know when the last time I used eye drops were. You know, it's been a while.
Okay. I don't use eye drops. Right. I mean, I put in contacts, but I mean, I don't even put anything in my eye in the contacts. So I don't know the last time I used eye drops.
Okay. So you got to use both every day.
Okay. So you got to put hot sauce in your eye every day, or wipe your tail with sandpaper every day. That's easy for me. I'm going to go with sandpaper every day, because there's medicines I can apply after the fact to take care of some business down there. But if I keep putting hot sauce in my eyes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go blind.
Well, I think too, you stuff gets calloused, right? I mean, I think things down there get calloused.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but I know my eyes will. If they get calloused, I'm not seeing anything anymore. So I'm more concerned about that. I mean, even if it got so bad down south that I needed to put in a bypass, you know what I'm saying? I could put in a bypass and we'd be okay.
Yeah, but
you can't do anything. Once your eyes are gone, man, they're gone.
They're gone.
So I'm going with sandpaper on the hind end.
But once they're gone, you may not have to use hot sauce anymore.
Well, that's not. Then you're
right,
blind for the rest of your life.
Right,
so I don't think that's. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
We got time for one more question.
Let's do it. Would you rather?
Would you rather have no internet access or have Nicolas Cage within a meter of you at all times?
Nicolas Cage. Why Nicolas Cage? I mean, just, okay.
Look at him.
So, like the actor, is he like one of his characters, or just him?
Well, I'm sure since it's going to be Nicolas Cage, he's probably going to be using one of his actors or one of his characters that he uses.
Okay.
You know, he'll probably switch it off quite a bit. I mean, he may go into like face-off mode where he's, you know, acting like you're John Travolta and he's trying to fight you off or something. I don't know.
Okay. So no internet for the rest of my life.
Correct.
Or Nicolas Cage beside me 24/7.
24/7.
Like he takes naps with me.
He takes naps with you.
He
Goes
goes
number
in-
2. He hands you the sandpaper.
Hands me the sandpaper. Interesting. Okay.
This is
That would be kind of cool. Nicolas Cage around me for just a little bit would be cool. You know, like, hey, look, I'm with Nicolas Cage. But then there would be plenty of times where that would be very awkward and I would want him to leave.
Yeah, but he's within a meter.
Well, I don't know how far that is. I'm not British.
It's not. I'm not. A meter's
When you're
like.
using British, why are you using metric system on me all of a sudden?
I don't know, man.
on, man.
All right. A couple
a foot.
feet.
Okay.
I mean, you know, a couple feet.
All right,
within
good.
a couple feet.
Now I know what it is. All right, so a couple of
Arm's reach.
arm's reach.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, man, I'd rather not have internet. I don't want the dude around me the rest of my life within arm's reach.
That means no more podcasts.
Yeah, but who knows?
But that also means Nicolas Cage sitting in here with us.
Yeah, and he'd take over. You know he would.
Nick, shut up, man.
Yeah, I was like, get out of the spotlight, dude. You've had plenty of. But then again,
Go
he's
do
rich,
Ghost Rider
so
3.
really you could get a lot. I mean, to do without all
but-
your meals. You know, anyway,
Maybe.
man, that's a good question. But I think I'm going to go with no internet because I'm just going to hope that within 5 or 10 years, technology changes. And instead of internet, we have outer net.
What's outernet?
It's the opposite of internet. Wait, that's inter. All right, it's not inner. That's my southern redneck inner. You gonna get on that internet? Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with no internet, man.
Oh, okay.
What are you gonna do? You said-
Yeah, I didn't. I would definitely go with the no internet thing. I kind of like that idea, although I do love having my phone on me.
Yeah,
But it's much better. No internet is much better than having a guy with me at all times.
I agree. Yeah, I don't want him with me.
No.
So all right, so let's leave it at this, guys. Everybody listening, hit up our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and let us know what you think. Maybe you want to chime in on the depression talk and give us your ideas and your viewpoints on that. Or, Sean, what else may they have an idea about?
I don't know.
Maybe would you rather?
Oh, yeah, right.
Tell us.
Yeah,
Tell
if
us.
you...
I set that one up on the tee and Sean swung and missed.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time or will be the last time. If you guys have any would you rather questions, please let us know. We like having fun with you guys. Hit us up on YouTube or on the Facebook page.
Or let us know whether it's sandpaper or hot sauce. That's just give us your answer.
I would have to go
All right.
sandpaper on that too, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
But-
didn't get your answer, did we?
No, we didn't.
Okay, well, if you're listening, give us your answer too. Leave it in the comment section below. Thanks
Yo.
for listening this week, guys. We appreciate it. You have a good one.
Take it easy.